Hello everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Dr. Lee from Bukit Matajam and now I'm staying in Kluang, Johor. Now if you have a look at the board over here, this is the time I'm wrapping up the explanations and the presentation on Uasa for Sjkc, Sjkt and Sjkt. And this time is Bahasa Melayu. Now, if you look at the board here, what I'm going to discuss today is the analysis of this Uasa Bahasa Melayu. And if you look over here, the two things actually which I'm going to discuss today, which I'm going to share today, is first of all, I will touch on the, I will touch on the overview of the whole Uasa Bahasa Melayu paper. And I will start off with the structure, followed by the special features of Uasa. Now, structure. Structure means to say, the breakdown of the parts of the exam, or this Uasa paper for Bahasa Melayu, which actually throughout the videos which I posted, I have actually touched on every aspect of the structure. But because this is an analysis, I will need to go through again, sort of a repeat, but as fast as I can, because I've done it before actually. There's no hurry, but then I feel that, since I have done it before, I'll just run through. So we know that the Uasa BM, the paper format for SK, Sjkc and Sjkt, we know that the time allocated is 1 hour 15 minutes and the total marks is 50. We have 4 parts altogether. In Bahasa Melayu, we say Bahagian A or Part A, 10 marks, which consists of multiple choice questions or objective questions. And it focuses on grammar and reading comprehension, but this is on the objective side. For Part B, we are still focusing on the grammar as well as comprehension, but more towards the writing style, or the way to answer is through writing and not ABC, multiple choice questions. For Part C, 10 marks is given and we call it the guided response text formulation, whereby students need to use critical thinking skills, or what we call KBAT, whereby students are required to give their opinion based on a situation. Let us say, you see your friend, all alone, all right, sitting maybe somewhere outside the canteen, whereas it is recess time. And your friend looks very sad or maybe crying, and then you ask why, and your friend says that he's forgotten to bring money to school. So he's hungry and he doesn't have any money to buy any food in the canteen. So what would you do? So critical thinking skills. What would you do? So perhaps a student may say, well, I will lend him some money or lend her some money so that he or she can go to the canteen and buy something to eat. Okay, in not more than 50 words. Well, there are so many ways to solve this problem. So it's up to you. You are free to give your opinions. So Bahagian C is the place or the area where students have the freedom to express, to give their point of views. Okay, what they would do in such a situation. So it's mostly based on situation. So another student may say, oh, I will share my food with this student, my friend. I will share my food I'll buy food and I'll share it with him so that he doesn't go hungry. You see, that is another answer. So not necessarily you must lend him money. Perhaps you may not have any money. So some students who answer that, I share my food with him, maybe those are the students who don't bring a lot of money to school, perhaps. All right. So another student may say, oh, I would, bring him to the canteen, and I will, maybe ask another friend of mine to lend him some money because I don't have all the, not necessarily to say I don't have, but maybe ask another friend to lend him some money. So it could be any answer, okay? But of course the answer must be rational and logical, okay? And for bahagian D, 20 marks are given. This is what we call the extended essay construction, okay? Whereby you are given a choice of whether you would like to write your answer, your essay, using a formatted style. So we call it berformat, or berformat if you like. And you're given a choice. You can also choose not to write a formatted essay. That means without a format. So that would be like a story, or your experience. So format of course comes under like report, letter writing, but non-format is just paragraph by paragraph, and that you have to write between 50 and 80 words, okay? So all in all, 1 hour and 15 minutes to complete bahagian or part A, B, C, and D, okay? Maximum 50 marks. Now, let us talk about the changes from, UPSR to Uasa, the specialty, the special features of this Uasa paper. Now, for the, in the past, students who sat for the UPSR paper, it was, a paper, a national paper, whereby, it's unified. The whole country sits for UPSR, but UASA or Uasa is only at the end of the year, and is conducted by the schools themselves, although the questions come from the education department. So they have what you call a bank of questions, and our schools can pick the questions directly from the bank of questions set by the pendidikan, or the education department. And the second thing which I like to highlight over here is, for the UPSR paper, Bahasa Melayu, you had paper 1 and paper 2. Paper 1 is objective and other types of like filling in the blanks, or drawing lines, matching. And paper 2 is writing, whereby students have to make sentences based on one big picture. Write 5 sentences about the picture. I'm talking about Sjkc actually. The rest are the same, ulasan, give your comment, your review, that comes under the writing paper. But for Uasa, Bahasa Melayu is now a single paper, single paper system. Okay, so it replaces the paper 1, paper 2 system, where we call it the dual paper system. And in the past, UPSR, paper 1, 1 hour 15 minutes. Paper 2, 1 hour 15 minutes. So it's altogether 2.5 hours. But for Uasa, it is reduced 4 sections, writing and objective together, in 1 hour 15 minutes. That means less 1 hour and 15 minutes. Okay? And like I mentioned just now, Bina ayat, make sentences, ulasan are all removed. You don't have that anymore. Now, what is the specialty about, I mentioned a few just now. One other thing that our education department, our government wants to do with regard to this Uasa is that in Bahasa Melayu we say penghapusan format rigid. That means we are breaking away. Uasa is set in such a way that we break away from the rigid way. Like, rigid means to say that you have, most of the questions are, given in such a way that you don't have a chance to think. It's all from the text itself. But for Uasa, you are given a chance to think. Part C and D especially, because especially part C, you are given this flexibility, I would say flexibility for section D. Students are given a choice. You can choose. You want a format essay or you want a non-format essay, you choose. You choose and you write. For rigid means to say that you have a format whereby your answers and your questions are all based on the question paper itself. But for Uasa, bahagian C is the part where you give your own opinion, critical thinking. You use, we call it kebat, in English we call it HOTS, higher order thinking skills, whereby students can think. There's no such thing as the answer is taken directly from the comprehension, or the answer is this one, so this is called rigid. You just pick the answers, it's all there. Bahagian C is not like this. The situation is given, read the situation, and then you produce your own answers, and you use your critical thinking skills. Like I said just now, it has to be logical and rational, your answer. Okay, so this is the difference between what I call Uasa and UPSR. And Uasa, in the past, when we had UPSR, what happened was that for UPSR, the difference was that, if you are in the Chinese medium school, like Sjkc, or you are in the Tamil primary school, Sjkt, Bahasa Melayu paper is set differently. Meaning to say, for the UPSR for the whole country, you have 3 different sets of papers, exam papers, paper 1, paper 2. So paper 1, paper 2 for Sjkc, Sjkt, and Sk are different. Okay, they have their own. They have one set for Sjkc, one set for this Sk. So for now UPSR, it is different. I mean now UASA or Uasa. Uasa is different now. It is what we call, we already selaraskan, meaning to say all schools, all primary schools, we do not differentiate. We do not say, oh, you are from Sjkc, you are from Sjkt, you are from Sk, so your exam papers will be different. No. Everyone will sit for the same paper. So Uasa is different in this aspect. We do not separate the papers. We do not say, oh, you are from Sjkc, so your paper is like this. No. Everyone sits for the same paper. That means to say, you know that Sk, Bahasa Melayu is the first language. So the standard is high. The words, the vocabulary is first language is high. For Sjkc, the Chinese language would be the first language, so the standard is high. So Bahasa Melayu, the standard will be a bit lower. For it's the same as Sjkt. The Tamil school students would have, the Tamil language would be very high because it's the first language. Okay? For UASA, there's no such thing. Everyone follows SK. Now, our government, our pendidikan or education department, their objective is that when primary school students, SJKC, SJKT, when they have to study, they have to learn Bahasa Melayu that is of the same standard high like SK. Then when they go to, before that, when they learn it like this, our government wants to close the gap, okay, between SK, SJKC, SJKT, close the gap. Everybody is the same. So it's like a bridge leading all the students to go to secondary school. Okay, so when they reach secondary school, especially when they go to SMK, okay, or SM maybe, as long as they go to government schools in secondary school, our government's objective is that once in primary school, they are exposed, they learn, they have exams, they have tests of a higher level Bahasa Melayu, equivalent to SK, then the students will be able to manage. They will be able to cope with secondary school, because we know that secondary school, as soon as they go to Form 1, they have to learn all subjects in Bahasa Melayu, except some schools offer Chinese language, but most of the schools, we say, let us talk about generally. Secondary school students will be doing all subjects in Bahasa Melayu, except English. Okay? There are many schools offering Bahasa Cina, and some schools don't have, but during SPM, students can still choose Bahasa Cina as one of the papers. So in my opinion, I totally agree with the government, with the education department. As an educator myself, I totally agree with the one paper for all, like the Uasa Bahasa Melayu, especially Bahasa Melayu. We need to pull up, we need to push students from SJKC and SJKT to push them, lift up their standard so that they are together, they're the same as SK. It means their Bahasa Melayu level is first language level. I totally agree, because it is for the students' good. When they go to secondary school, they won't be shocked. They would already know. They would be able to accept and understand Bahasa Melayu. Once they enter secondary school, they would not have problems adjusting, because they were not learning Bahasa Melayu at such a high level. So it is very good and very well researched. Now, I was teaching in Sabah for many years in the Chinese independent schools, and I lived there. I know that, during the time I was there, all SJKC students, once they finish year 6, they have to, it's a must, they have to spend 1 year studying remove or peralihan when they are in secondary school, government schools, SMK, The reason why Sabah State Government Education Department wants students to do that is because they are from the Chinese medium. So when they go directly to secondary school, if you put them in Form 1 studying some 10 subjects, they will be at a loss. It will be very hard for them to catch up. So they are all put, into remove classes, whereby 4 subjects are focused: English, Bahasa Melayu, Mathematics and Science. All in Bahasa Melayu, of course. So only 4 subjects. They concentrate on the students' ability. They build up the students' vocabulary, listening skills, speaking, understanding in Bahasa Melayu. And then the second year they go up to Form 1, they are more ready. But it is when I came to West Malaysia here, Peninsular Malaysia, I discovered that it's so different. Parents here, they are very happy to send their children from primary school direct to Form 1. They like to do it this way. They want their children to directly go to Form 1 instead of primary school. So with this Uasa, I feel that it is very good, because it actually fulfills parents' wishes. They would love to see their children directly going to Form 1 instead of studying 1 year removed. So I'm sure the government knows about this, through the enrollment, through parents requesting for Form 1 instead of removed classes, through parents' request, the government understands. That is why this Uasa comes into the picture. So with this Uasa, then we don't have to worry about, we don't have to, think that, our kids have to study, our children have to study 1 year removed. This is not what parents want. Parents want the children, most parents want their children to directly, smoothly go to Form 1. Okay? So with this Uasa in the picture, then students have a higher level of Bahasa Melayu, and once they reach secondary school, they need not worry about adjusting themselves, adapting themselves, because they already have a high level of Bahasa Melayu. Back to Sabah. In Sabah, if you want, at the time I was there actually, if you want your child to directly go to Form 1, then you have to go to Pendidikan, the education department, to apply. And then they have a condition whereby year 6 UPSR, you sit for your Sjkc Bahasa Melayu paper. At the same time, you have to register for Bahasa Melayu SK. So my own son, my second son, I registered him because I saw that he had a potential. He was able to grasp the, his Bahasa Melayu for Sjkc was good. He could do it. So I thought that, I registered for him. So that means he sat for Bahasa Melayu 2 times. Once is together with all his schoolmates, Sjkc BM. And then one more time, SK Bahasa Melayu. That means he sat for 2 Bahasa Melayu papers. And normally ABC, if you pass with ABC, you can, the government allows you to directly go to Form 1. But C, normally we would, me as an educator, if my child were to get a C, then I would advise him or encourage him to study peralihan first, because I feel that C, maybe he might have some difficulty. But fortunately, my son was able to, get results better than C. So he could directly enter Form 1 together with my eldest son, the eldest son, because they had an age gap of 1 year. So my thinking was that putting the second son together with the eldest son, so that in future when I send them to Semenanjung to study, both of them can look after each other because they are together. You see, 1 year difference. That is why I put my second son to let him sit for SK and try, and he did it. So this is what I want to tell everyone here. The Uasa paper, looking at the paper, I feel that it is very suitable for today's generation students, because it has questions on critical thinking, and I feel that critical thinking is very important for anyone, and you're able to think logically and rationally. So this Uasa paper, Bahasa Melayu paper, again I agree that all students sit for the same paper, so that especially for Sjkc and Sjkt, they are better prepared when they enter secondary school. Okay, so that's all for what I want to say this time. I have one more video which focuses on Uasa Bahasa Melayu. Okay, in that video I will give my comments, which I have already commented actually. I would discuss the problems faced by the challenges faced by SJKC, SJKT students based on what I researched in the internet. Actually, all this is from the internet. I can't say by myself, see what I mean? So I had to do some homework as well before I present in my video. And I would also discuss with everyone recommendations, suggestions, how SJKC, SJKT students can overcome the challenges and catch up with the SK students. Okay, so that's all for this time. I will see you again in the next video.